Okay, we're recording. Yay. Okay, Viaduct. Yeah, like I said, it won't be long just because Viaduct's quite small. You know, I say that now, we'll end up talking for an hour. Yeah, so fists. I normally roll out with Fists of Steel, obvs, just because, yeah, anything else is just a bit, you know, like Gru is not really worth it. I mean, it can be. This is one of those maps where you should think about changing to Gru like every death, but like default is Fist of Steel just because the run distances are really short and there's every possibility. So this area should normally be safe. Once you're kind of getting into the connectors, then things start getting a little unsafe. And as soon as you're here, like this is immediately in a danger zone. You can start taking damage from people up there, from people on the cliff, from forward holders here. So like that's your Gru distance. You want to like, if you're being super cautious and you're on a regular rollout and like in the middle of a game, then you're going to be Gruing to about there, and it just doesn't seem fucking worth it at all. Also, you can, because like you can kind of get back to health packs quite quickly. You're kind of retreating with Gru is really effective. No, retreating with Fist of Steel on this map. So yeah, highly recommend Fist of Steel. But you know, shit like if they're capping, if your team's capping the point and you've got this space already, then you might as well just get in there, because whatever. Okay, so there's a couple of ways you can roll out. In fact, there's four, I'd say. Going up right side over here, I really don't like. I tend to avoid this all the time, just because as soon as you come into this area, you've got loads you have to look out for. If there's snipers on China, you've got a problem. If there's snipers on Cliff, you've got a problem. There'll be like a soldier peeking through the connector, and that's going to be a problem. It's just a mess coming this way in general. So I really stay away from concrete if I at all can. Whether I'll come main is a question of how good their demo is and if the pyro is rolling out with us. Quite often you'll just get like a couple of stickies lobbed down here, like when you're rolling out, because demo can be really fast and get that. Whereupon, yeah, it can be a bit of an issue rolling in if you don't have a pyro covering you. I think my favourite rollout these days is coming up this side, because, okay, if there's a sniper on China, then you can start hugging this wall. You can get very close to here, and it's actually gives you kind of reasonable fields of fire. If you're controlling Cliff, then that's good. You can do the whole, you know, hiding behind point and like peeking over and stuff once you've rolled into mid. So it gives you lots of options.
Yeah, sniper usually like 90% of the time. Or
So you cut out lazy. Lazy? Lazy.
You
Lazy?
cut out.
I think everyone seriously has that issue where they cut out.
Yeah, maybe it's mumble. Maybe it's Chriscast mumble. What a horrible thought. It might be. Oh well.
Just hit continuous, lazy.
We'll try different ones at some point, and if this mumble's shit, then we'll just avoid it. You were saying about the sniper.
Oh yeah, 90% of the sniper roll out to Cliff or China, so rolling left is the safest bet.
I've been finding in Prem they tend not to do that, which is really weird. You get like it's really odd.
Combo?
No, you'll get like snipers like bottom left and on stairs. Like China's still massively popular, obviously, but you get people like really staying very far back. I think it's due to avoiding bombing soldiers, but I don't know. I'd have to like watch some STVs or whatever to actually know that. But yeah, I mean, like China is the classic, just because you know everyone goes to China. But yeah, our demo man has recently been getting the combo to run out Cliff, just as a kind of weird like different play. So the demo's over here, and he's like on that forward corner controlling that area. You'll be like back here just like making sure no one can jump or whatever. If you see snipers on China, then you can kind of cover him as well. Yeah, it's interesting. We've been having like the soldier jumping up on this rock and shooting from up there as well, which is odd. I'm not entirely convinced by it, but mixing stuff up is always good, so you know, yeah, might as well.
On this kind of rollout, how much time do you spend on Cliff? before you drop down?
It depends what
You
the rest of
waiting
my
for a
team's
pick or
doing.
something?
Quite often, I'll just end up dicking around here doing nothing for a while, just holding shit down, because for the ranges that amount I can't really do much. If things are looking okay, I'll drop down to here and start, like, you know, working around this corner, because if I'm here, the medic's up there, you know, I can still get heals, I'm still kind of connected to the combo. Although when I'm here, like, I'm always wary of getting stabbed by spies. And that's probably what I should talk about next as you just roll out to mid, because this is a really, really good spy map, like a horrendously good spy map. If you just look at all the places that a spy can come at you from, we've got like spies up on cliff, we've got spies coming from China, spies can like work around the house a lot, they love doing that shit. This is another favourite decloak spot, this little corner here, or like round this corner. There's so many places for a spy to decloak.
Over the boxes.
Yep. I mean, you can get on boxes, you can jump on that window still, you can come to that little ledge up there. There's any number of places. So what you should do is kind of work out the rhythm of spies when you roll into this map. Normally, okay, so for a normal rollout, I'll be working behind this rock, and I'll be either whichever side the sniper's on, I'll be on the other side. It feels like I say that every map, but yeah, that's pretty much what you should do. So yeah, you can work over here, you can kind of minimise the damage you're taking, you've got like pretty good fire arcs, so you know, everything is doable. Likewise on the other side, you've got to watch out for China a lot more this way, but I mean, if the sniper's on the right, then you can come here. What I would say is, watch out for this little sniper sightline between the rock here. Also, the collision boxes on this little corner here are really, really weird.
I forgot which one is better, the red or the blue.
They patched that.
Yeah, we
in
sorted
the
it.
RC4 version.
That was,
really?
Yeah, that was.
Same with the jump on the windowsill on both sides now.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an exact mirror. It was me and Bubble had a campaign to fix that shit, and like Bubble found some map maker who you could sort it out with, and yeah, we got that shit sorted.
Are the rocks fixed?
Yep, everything is mirrored. You can jump up on the rocks on both sides. You can hump the board to shoot over it, but it takes a lot of time to get in position. So I mean, once you're here, you can see you've got amazing cover over the board, but it's not like in the old map on red you could just walk up to it, but on blue you really couldn't. But on this one, if you want to hump it a lot, you can use this. It's really good cover abuse. It's something you should have in your arsenal, but don't use it too often, because mainly because people have like worked out how to deal with it. And the way you deal with it is snipers is obviously great for dealing with it. Soldiers just need to shoot this rock here and you're taking massive amounts of damage, or shoot the floor here and you're taking massive amounts of damage. You can get spied very easily. Yeah, it's if your enemies aren't ready for you doing it, then it's like a really good like surprise tactic. Like
wait, I don't get the technique. How do you able to see beyond the board?
Push forwards and up towards the rock. I should have explained that. So yeah, and you just kind of climb it and you hump it to a certain level. You go too far, you drop down.
Like that slow ascension, I love it.
Yeah, you can do it in a lot of places in TF2. For some reason, like the term for doing that in TF2 is humping an object. I don't know why it's humping an object, but whenever anyone talks about it, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're humping that board or humping that rock." Yeah, I like that. It's cute. What else? If your team has mid and you have a bit of time, can I do this with one hand? Yeah. Standing on this little bit of wood here is really good for working.
Yeah, Chomsky likes it.
So the reason this is good is decent, but what makes it kind of awesome is the angles that you have on it. So, okay, you can go to either side. You can protect yourself from China. You can like choose, like if you're on this side here, you can be shooting main. You can be shooting down concrete. If you go this side, you can be protected from concrete, and you can be covering China and such. But what's really lovely about this is, okay, say you're on the floor. You can't see that far down this side, like you can't see the floor back there. But let me maneuver myself back onto here. Okay, still one-handed. Yeah, when you're up here, suddenly your fire arc, you can shoot all the way down there. Likewise, when you're looking through main from standing on this rock, you can shoot all the way to their safe area. So, like down the stairs as well, you have a much better fire arc there. So, Yeah, it just means you can like be dinging people from a lot further away.
Yeah, only problem is the range. It's like all fives.
And,
yeah, it's all fives, but I mean, if you're supporting your team and they're trying to move in and they're in a big bunch and you're dinging them and you can see where they're going to crits and stuff, it's really nice. It works very well.
What I like about this is you cannot get splashed by soldiers so easily, and if you need to cover this side, you got the cover of the rock, either the other side.
And you've always got the option to drop down, and Heavy's biggest disadvantage is being slow, but if there's a drop down anywhere, that is the fastest movement you can have as a Heavy. It just, in terms of the speed with which you can change a combat situation which is unfavourable to you, dropping down off shit is just an amazing option to have. So that's something to think about. What else should we talk about here? Okay, that's kind of your initial kind of like how you'll be playing like over this thing and such. Like I said, be very wary of being concrete because you're very vulnerable here. Like surprisingly so. If there's any kind of vaguely long range class over on their concrete, they can just chip away at you. The sight lines are kind of dodgy for you and stuff. Okay, cover that's useful to use. Let's talk about forward holding once you've got the point. So a lot of teams will hold back behind the point when they've just capped it and wait for the enemy to come to them. I think that is not aggressive enough. In like Prem, you just see there's always forwards holds, and your kind of forward holds are either cliff, doing this one-handed again. Oh god, I need to duck and jump. Fuck,
walk
this
around.
is difficult. Wait, I've got this now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
hump it, yeah, hump it good.
Okay, I'm up. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to do this forward hold. Normally, if you're running with the combo, and you should be, your demo should be with you, have your demo go to the front, have your medic coming a little bit further back, and I don't think you want to be far forwards covering shit. You can be, and that can work, but also consider just being the retreat point. Like, because your demo and medic, they can get the fuck out really fast if loads of people come from them, and if you're up here, then you can also be covering spies coming up the back, you can be covering jumpers. It kind of gives you a lot of options. Oh, another thing to be aware of is another spy decloak spot you need to be careful about is on here. Spies love this shit, those fucking spies. Yeah, so watch out for that. Yeah, come forward if you want, stay back if you want, and cover your demo, see what works for you. When you're doing this hold, what you have to keep an eye out for is, so your flank will probably be over covering that side. As soon as their combo and most of their players start coming out the other side, you need to get back. Because if you're up here and they get all of their players onto concrete and start moving out onto point, then your combo's very, very cut off over here, and it's not going to turn out well for you. Unless you can get like a really nicely coordinated sandwich with the rest of your team, but it's dodgy. You'll like have people coming up there, and yeah, you need to pull back. One thing we've been trying recently is we'll have like our flank or our scout really far forwards, like peeking into their spawn area, and as soon as they start working out we're on cliff and they start changing, we try and switch our forward hold to be in their face with this right side forward hold. You need to be really fucking quick to get away with it, and it's kind of tricky, but it can be worth it. So with this forward hold, you kind of want to do it in stages. Your sniper will want to be over here. You can have your people moving down, and like the super forward hold is like you're on this corner, your demo will be like going really far forwards, taking the piss and like sticking up that exit and sticking up there. You'll have your sniper just behind you on that little thing up there, and yeah, this is kind of quite effective. But again, only do this if you have people who are up and are looking on that side, because like with the other side, if you're kind of forward holding this far forwards and they start coming around, like if they start getting people through this area, you can get scouts jumping onto your med. If they start filtering from cliff, then again you're in a very bad position. You end up finding yourself like trying to retreat through connector, and stuff turns bad. A slightly more kind of reserved forward hold here is you'll have your sniper and your demo kind of shooting off that side of concrete, and you'll kind of be here denying people coming out of main, keeping an eye on cliff, And again, those classes which are much faster to retreat, they can stay a bit further forwards than you, and you can like pull back as needs be. I wouldn't actually go that far forwards to forward hold, because you've got a drop down there, but your drop down doesn't get you very far away. But yeah, if you're up here,
Speaking of cutouts.
sorry, did my voice cut out then?
Yep.
Damn, I'm pretty sure it's Critscast Mumble. We've already had issues with this shit.
No, so that's why you guys didn't meet Sprint.
Didn't what one where? Oh.
Didn't go higher up.
yeah, that was it. It was all
the mumble was like really holding you down.
Yeah. Something to be aware of is this is one of those levels where these railings like stop shit. So it'll stop a certain amount of bullets, but also like say if there's a soldier trying to come out of main and he's trying to shoot you directly with rockets, these will block the rockets, and that's kind of handy. What else? Another forward hold, which is kind of plausible, is just getting to rock and kind of being here. This very much relies on, say, your flanks being up there. Like, say someone's holding cliff, maybe you've got your demo med up there, and you'll be like holding back here, just holding things down and looking for the spy and such. Another thing to do once you're kind of on point and advance is actually staying over this side and using these angles is pretty effective for heavy. Like, you can't very easily be sniped over here unless there's a sniper on China, or the sniper's really far forwards. You can control a lot of this area here. What you've got to be wary of is people coming really close from cliff and this kind of way, because say if their combo starts dropping in with an Uber and you're like here, where are you going to go, right? But I mean, there's an ammo pack here, and yeah, for like just forwards advancing and, you know, supporting a kind of not a full-on forward hold, but a kind of aggressive hold. Yeah, it's very effective coming up.
I actually started using this position lately on the last 10 seconds of a round, where you got the point and you're just waiting for him to come.
Yeah, when they have to do stupid shit.
Yeah, you could just pick off loads of people, just ignore that corner.
Yep, totally. One thing I would say just about capping the point, spies love decloaking right there, and it's surprisingly effective. It just doesn't seem to get checked that much. So
also stickies.
Yeah, there can be sticks around. I mean, I tend not to worry about sticks too much, because you should have been keeping an eye on their demo. Like, whenever there's a demo holding back, just looking at you using pills, then that's like what tells you that there's bullshit going on. But yeah. So, yes, right, so attacking down onto... Ooh, let me just jump up here if I can. Huh. Oh, I need to use the duck, fuck. There we go. Jumping up here is actually surprisingly useful. It's another one of those little mixing things up and surprising people things. Like, say you know they're on that concrete. If you come around here and start shooting them, so for starters, they won't expect you to be coming from this angle. They'll expect you to be coming from somewhere a little bit different. And you can shoot down the stairs a lot more easily. Like, say you come out here and you surprise them here and they want to retreat, you get damage on them all the way down the stairs. If you walk around at this level, you get damage on them maybe halfway down the stairs. You see what I mean? So using that bit of height.
You also avoid lots of blind splash damage.
Cycle.
Sorry, say again?
What you can cycle.
Cycle? How do you mean?
I mean, you can get to this side, but if they are getting through that connector, you can get like the other side and such.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can try like some like jumping around if people are in connector bullshit. Although, if they've got people in there, I'd be very wary about being around there, because unless they've got someone just wandering around like being a derp and not paying attention to where the rest of their team is, that probably means the rest of their team is going to be quite far forwards. And like, if you're going to be messing around doing stuff like that, you need to be 100% aware of like if there's a sniper on cliff or not, because that could be very dangerous. What else is worth mentioning? There is some interesting cover here if you get on these boxes. Oh god, this is really hard one-handed. Oh crap, I just fell off again. Oh god, to have full use of both my hands back. Okay, so in fact on this level here, if you're on the barrel level, oh god, let me jump onto that. Not there. Here Here you can have some partial cover and you can shoot down the stairs. Again, it's got the thing where if people are attacking you from the stairs, they don't have as much cover as they do otherwise. Christ, this is difficult with only my right hand. Yeah, so being up here, you kind of have partial cover down here to attack there. You can also at the same time cover people coming through main. So if you're doing this forward hold here, this is really, really nice. There's more bits of levels to play on this one. Let me just... Oh, God. Yes. Okay, so this is an interesting one for shooting down here. You have, you know, decent shots there, and you've got a lot of cover. And again, really, really good for covering main. So yeah, this stack of shit here, have a play with it. Like, try standing on all the different levels there and seeing what cover you get and what advantages that can give you. I'm not saying it's something I'll use every match. In fact, it's not something I'll use maybe every 5 matches, but it's worth like knowing about, essentially. What else should you know about? Oh yeah, I mentioned this briefly. I'd spend a bit of time and just get to know like where all the hitboxes are around this rock, because it's really weird like how many bullets get through. Like, as you can see there, like some bullets are getting to the floor and some aren't. It's all a bit, yeah. So like, just have a play with that and work it out. Man, I need to find, there's a command which lets you see where all the clip brushes are on a map. That can be well worth doing if you can be bothered. Do you know what I mean by the clip brushes?
Yeah, like where you can build, where you cannot, what you can stand on, what you cannot.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things. Another one of those little tips that may save your life but may not is these things are good for the whole like bouncing up and down thing, and over here as well.
Oh right.
Like for just in fact, if you just keep doing that there. Look how his head is changing position really fucking fast compared to if he's spun up and he's just moving. On this little bit of ground here, it's much more pronounced, you can really see it. But for a sniper trying to headshot you, if you're spun up and you're just like doing that little jink on that little thing, it makes you much more difficult to headshot. And the person who told me about this is Fanny, who snipes for It's All Good. And it was in fact one map when I'd not even been thinking about doing it, and I'd just been doing it at random, and he was like, that shit really fucks me off, I wish heavies wouldn't do that. And I'm like, oh, that's a thing, that's genius.
I would do it all the time.
Yeah, well,
Look how
so
it bounces off.
the places where you can do this are not always the best places for a heavy to hang out. So it's debatable how much it will save your life. But if it gives you, you know, heavy is all about like shaving those little extra advantages. If this like saves you from 1 headshot in 100, then I'll fucking take it, because for like, you know, no extra effort, you're kind of getting this teeny tiny advantage, which is like super worth taking. What else about this map?
I've seen a lot of heavies.
Yeah.
Like on this map when they're attacking and going pretty forward and being aggressive, just hit crouch a lot, like a lot. I don't know if it's viable, but
whereabouts? I mean, crouching is one of those things where it is. Okay, so let's talk about. In fact, this is nothing to do with Viaduct. I think we've probably covered Viaduct, but let's talk about when you want to crouch in a heavy gunfight. So the theory behind crouching in a heavy gunfight is it reduces hitbox, and it kind of does, but it also kind of doesn't, depending on the range that someone's shooting at. Like, if you're at this range, say I'm looking at Boskov right now, like if he crouches, Boskov, if you could just crouch, it actually, you know, it almost condenses your hitbox, because like your legs have suddenly become really like a solid thing as opposed to, and you see what I'm saying? Like, because, okay, so on my crosshairs, the spread of a minigun is roughly like the area where the big crosshairs aren't. So like I've got the really big crosshair lines, and then once they stop, in fact I'll show you this because it works at any range and it's kind of interesting. So if I'm shooting at this wall here, most of my bullets will fall kind of in that area, a bit in the middle of the crosshairs. But then if you back it up, because of the spread, right, your minigun spread is greater, but because you're further away, it'll fall in roughly the same box. Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's another reason I like these full screen crosshairs, because they really show me the clumping while not, you know, getting me lazy on my aiming, which I used to have with the big crosshair that was the default heavy one. So yeah, there's certain ranges where ducking is good, and there's certain ranges where ducking is bad. And up close, ducking can be really useful. It probably won't be, because heavy fights up really close like happen in a second. But I mean, okay, say, in fact, that's MB around that corner. Just stand normally around that corner, MB. Okay, say I've just come around. Yeah, say I've just come around this corner, and I'm planning to shoot you in the chest like this. And if you duck, suddenly, so this probably isn't going to change much. But like, okay, so if I'm preparing to shoot at your chest, which is a main center of mass, then if we're this close, like ducking like that can actually reduce the bullets somewhat. Now, again,
yeah, the closer you are, the more effective is the ducking.
Yeah, no, let's get really close. Say I'm going to shoot you here, and you duck. Oh shit, you've completely just gone out my field of fire. So, yeah, there's not often you'll be fighting a heavy at this range, I'll be honest. But, again, it's one of those things to always bear in mind. Like, you're looking to shave off every little advantage. So, if you can pull some bullshit like that, then do it. My favourite place to shoot an enemy heavy from, if you can manage it, is on top of his head. Just because he won't really know where you are, and he'll be confused, and by the time he'll have clocked what's going on, you'll have killed him. That tactic I call hatting, because you turn yourself into his hat, and then you kill him. The ultimate Team Fortress 2 betrayal.
Humping, hatting, what's next?
I don't know, we'll think of something. Yeah, I think... Can you guys think of anything else pertinent about Viaduct?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay, go on, Lazy, what's up?
Go on.
Since it relies so much on...
oh god, what's that beeping?
What?
I got a message on my phone, that's all.
Okay.
Since it relies so much on demo and, you know, crits and stuff, then heavy is not usually the playmaker here. So let's talk about a little, what do you do when your combo's pushing with crits and you're not the playmaker, obviously?
Okay, so I mean, with that one, I'd say your optimal thing is to... The crits goes initially on the demo man, and then you flash it to the heavy to mop up if he has good targets. And you want to get good communication with your medic on that one. Although, okay, there's a weird thing that's happening in Prem right now. And that is crits and Ubers. People are trying to start them on the scout. So the scout runs in, the first Uber hits the scout, and the scout does damage, and then the Uber or crits hits the demo man, and he does even more damage, and then the heavy mops up. Although that takes a bit of coordination, but it's a sixes thing, which is kind of getting some traction in Highlander. Yeah, debatable.
Well, I think it's because Scout is really fast and can get enough damage, even with that flash, even with a little flash.
Yeah, you can do an awful lot with it.
I think it started in Highlander with Ruin.
Yeah, maybe because the Americans have been doing that stuff quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's not really full Ubers they're giving to scouts though, is it?
No, it's just literally
the medic as fast as
the very front of the Uber, like the first bit, goes on the scout, he gets really in their faces, sees what he can do, and then, you know, fuck knows what happens after that. You got your demo putting in damage. But yeah, with like playing off crits Kriegs and such on this map, yeah, I mean, one thing is you want to be very aware of where their demo is for when they get crits. You'll find yourself dying to crits Kriegs a lot, just because what you ideally want to do is have a medic who's counting Ubers. So this is like when a medic, like, because he's always got his Uber rate going up, and he'll make some assumptions about whether the enemy combo is building and if they're on different mediguns or whatever. But your medic should actually have a pretty good idea of when their Uber's going to pop or when their crits is going to pop. So ideally you want a medic who you can be holding normally, and he'll be like, okay, I'm on this, but they're going to be on this, so let's pull back and let their kind of crits fizzle out or whatever. What you can do as heavy is get their crits to pop early, but in general what will happen is you'll be somewhere like here, and then this crit sticky will Hail Mary from over there to land about there, and you'll just get popped and it'll suck. So yeah, always be very wary of their crits. With your crits, lines of where you'll be going with crits. You'll be advancing down here. Like, you probably want to go on the same side of the point as your demo and medic. Although you can go on the opposite side in an attempt to mop up. I'd say, like, on the initial push out with the demo and the medic, you want to be very wary of looking out for spies. Once the demo is putting some damage, then you start wanting to look for targets and stuff. But yeah, you're not the one that leads. When your combo calls that you're pushing, you're like, you can even be behind the medic, you know. And also, like, say if your demo is moving up, like, on the central rung here, again, like, hugging this wall is kind of cool. Because if your demo's over here and, you know, looking down here, chasing people, putting stickies in these areas, he can't necessarily see what's behind the rock. If you've come here, then you're just, like, covering another fire arc that he, like, you know, a pyro might try and get close behind this rock or whatever. You can get in his face, etc., etc. What else to say about this map? I should probably talk about how the Ubers play out, because this is one of those maps where every Uber, apart from the coffee maker, what's the coffee maker actually called?
What?
Okay,
Vaccinator?
The vaccinator. It's based on a coffee maker. Like, if you look at the model, I was chatting to Syke and Ronan about it, and it's based on a coffee maker. So yeah, it's the coffee maker. Apart from that, which never gets used anywhere, I wonder about that one. Maybe it has some viability, maybe not. But yeah,
lazy chicken.
If they're going quick fix, in fact, should we talk about? Let's talk about the scissors paper stone that's going on there. If they're going quick fix, then that counts as Uber. If they're going Uber, that counts as crits. If they're going crits, that counts as quick fix. So yeah, although okay, there's timings. So if the enemy team is running in quick fix, then this is one of those maps where everyone's going to be getting injured. So your medic can really splash around the healing a lot with the quick fix because it heals stuff faster. Look, coffee maker, look at that shit. You can flash around the quick fix. So in the initial fight, whichever team has quick fix will have an advantage, right? Then you get to the stage where the first quick fix Uber has been popped, and then the team with Kritzkrieg has an advantage because if they've survived the initial quick fix, they can have their crits and they can do that damage. And if they're up against, windy pops, and if they're against an Uber, then they also have the advantage in that this is their time to crits, take out the medic before the regular Uber gets the pop. Once that initial crits has gone off, at that point, that's when the Uber charge has the advantage. So, as you can tell from that hierarchy, it's not very popular right now to run Uber at the beginning of this map. It's pretty much a balance between quick fix and crits. The quick fix giving you the sustainability in your team to be much more aggressive at the beginning. But then...
Sorry?
If you've got quick fix, your team can be much more aggressive because although you don't have the overheal, this is one of those maps where just due to like people fighting in concentrated areas and such, everyone's going to be taking damage. So the quick fix, you just like bam, healing people up at full heal rate all the fucking time and no messing around. And then, you know, you've got the quick fix Uber charge, which hits really early. But again on this map, because you'll have this, like, when you're initially fighting over the midpoint, there's like this attrition between the two teams. Unless one team gets some big picks and rolls the other, whereupon the other pulls out. There'll often be cases where both teams are on their opposite sides of the point and they're just kind of fighting it out, putting in bits of damage here. And you actually, you know, get spawners coming in after you've died on the initial push and there's still like this fight in the mid. And when you hit a quick fix in that fight, because it's nice and early on, suddenly their team's still all kind of partially damaged, kind of knobbing around, kind of quite weak. And suddenly you can just be like, bam, your team's like on full health. And you can get a really good push off that. And if you get the medic, then you don't have to worry about crits coming back in your face. So if you're doing quick fix, you want to be really aggressive on the initial push. If you're doing Kritzkrieg, this is if one team's running Kritzkrieg and one team's running quick fix, then the quick fix one will be wanting to be really aggressive and take people out early. The quick fix is slightly playing for time the Kritzkrieg is playing for time, so then you can put in the crits and get in your damage there. And of course, Uber, you're just the slowest team there, and you really need to keep your medic alive until you've got Uber up. But it's incredibly difficult on this map because, one thing, this is one of those maps where you really need to look to the sky a lot, just because soldiers bombing is a pain in the ass. Although, one thing about soldiers bombing is this huge thing up here. It means their arcs they have to use. They either have to get forwards kind of slightly into the contested area before they can jump, or they need to go and do a really low arc from somewhere else, which can happen. You know, it's worth keeping an eye out for. But yeah,
it's actually more difficult because lower arc means they wall jump or something, so they're gonna come in faster.
Yes, although so if they're coming in on low arc, because more of your movement will be kind of left and right, it's much easier to track. Like in fact, let's talk about tracking. So, this is for like soldiers and scouts, and this is how to kill a heavy. If you go straight over his head, that's really slow for a heavy to track. Because, left and right, I can track just fine. In fact, anything within like this current like arc in front of me is really easy. And in fact, tracking up with jumpers is really easy. But it's when they cross above your head, because if you track up with your mouse, you're tracking, bam, you stop. You have to then spin and track down, which is what fucks you up. So you really don't want to let jumpers get directly above you. You want to so say if a jumper arcs across, then you can paint the arc really nicely. But if he goes directly above, you kind of have to it gets much more messy going up there, and it's much harder to track. So if I much prefer people on low arcs, just because much easier to track for me personally at any rate. Unless that low arc takes them over my head, whereupon you need to spin around really fast and try and work out where the hell the bastard landed, which is a pain in the ass.
I would still prefer that, because when they're jumping in arc and away from you, so that's not something you can deny really. If they jump straight above you, you can still stop them in the air from getting a pick or something.
It depends. If they do like a really kind of a languishing jump in the air that comes from above, then yeah, I mean, I guess the really horrible ones are kind of like that mid-ground where here's the thing, say I'm on here and a soldier arcs out and I can see him, then that's easy. But same here, if he goes really high, it can be much harder to actually work out where he is. And if he gets out of my field of view and lands behind me, that's when I'm losing loads of time, trying to pin him down and such. But yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for both. Maybe it's a personal preference. It depends how people track. I dare say also a lot depends on your sense and if you're picking up and moving in that way. But yeah, I wouldn't advise that. Keep a nice high sensitivity.
You have high sensitivity, right?
I have massively high sensitivity. In fact, let me see. So this is, in fact, do I have a ruler with me? No, I'll use my can of beer as a marker. Okay, so that's a can of beer there, and I'm looking at lazy. Then I move. That's maybe 1 inch. Yeah, maybe 2 inches. Inch and a half is my 360 spin. So we're talking really fucking sensitive. But then I play a lot with my fingers. All of this movement that you're seeing here, this is entirely done with my fingers. There's my wrist is literally sat on the desk, and in fact, yeah, all my movement is entirely done from the wrist, essentially, on this right hand. My arm is planted on the desk, and all this movement is just the hand coming off where my arm is planted, and that seems to work well for me.
Is a problem when you got a higher sensitivity, because scouts can really get up close to your face and just mess up your aim.
I mean, this is again just my own personal experience, but I find having a high sensitivity is what you need for scouts, because when a scout is up close, he's just moving really fast around you, and
the rest of the sensors.
Sorry, say again?
You got cut off.
Okay, yeah. When a scout's up close to you, he's going to be jumping all over the shop, and that's when I want the high sensitivity, so that when a scout's jumping over my head, I can very quickly 180 and pick him up. The hardest one for a scout to track is when he's doing the whole jumping above you and changing direction with his double jump directly above your head. So you track him up, and then you've just got a foot, and by the time that foot's landed, he's above your head again, and that's where the tracking's really difficult. But I'd much rather have that higher sensitivity. The way that I tend to track scouts, and this is actually a bit weird and worth talking about, is when they're moving across you up really close, they're very hard to track because they're very fast. What you want to do is pick up the scout when he's changing direction, because that means he's going to be in an area for a certain amount of time. And I think that's just experience learning how scouts move. And yeah, you just need to practice against really good scouts. Who would I practice against? Like, if you ever get a chance to play against Lazy Bear, he's a bastard.
Oh yeah.
He's like really good practice for you though.
I cannot kill him. I can't.
Again though, this is like this is heavy psychology. Like, if you are playing against a good scout and you just like put him down like a couple of times at the beginning, he'll start thinking, okay, I don't want to try that on that heavy. When really, he should be trying that on you, because, you know, you've got like...
Yeah, a retreating scout is the easiest thing to hit. Ones that get in your face are the toughest ones.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the same with spies and the same with scouts. If you dunk on them really early and act as if like you're fucking amazing and they can't do anything against you, say if you get like 2 or 3 at the beginning, then they stop trying that stuff and they get the fear, and that's when you've kind of won that psychological battle, because they've stopped trying to do the thing that's actually really effective against you. And I mean, okay, so, and this is a little bit about statistics, which is really useful for, I don't know, I find it really useful for like playing heavy and stuff. Like, say you're against someone and like you're against a scout and it's 50-50 who wins and loses. Like, for you to like win 3 times in a row, that's only a 1 in 8 chance. It's like not that random. Like if you roll like an 8-sided dice and get an 8, that's the probability that you'll kill a scout on a 1-on-1 3 times in a row. So, I mean, that's like a roll of a dice, you get an 8. But psychologically for that scout, you've just trashed him and he's like, man, I can't take on this heavy. When in actual fact, you've just like, you've won 3 coin tosses. So think about that stuff. Also bring it into your own game. Like, say if you're like trying to play against another heavy and he just like seems to be on your head, and like those times when like you've tried a move on him and he's just perfectly predicted you, he's been spun up in exactly the right place and he's just picked you up. In those situations, that could just be chance, probability. He got lucky. So don't assume that people, just because say they've beaten you 3 or 4 times in 1-on-1 skirmishes, they're better. They might have just got lucky 3 or 4 times, and yeah, that's that. But I mean, of course, as a heavy, you don't want to present those situations where they have the opportunity to get lucky. You should be playing really solid, like at the heart of your team, and just not giving the enemy team any cracks to get into you. So, okay, we've talked about Ubers now.
About
spies. Can we talk about spies?
Okay, spies. Okay, do you know what I do? And this is homework, and I massively advise it. Try and find some spy POVs. I had real problems dealing with spies on this map, and then there's loads of spies out there who they like are on Twitch and stuff, and they'll show like how they move. And on a map like this, if you just watch a spy's patrol routes and where they uncloak, it's a revelation if you haven't done it before.
Totally.
Yeah,
for
they spend...
example, spy rollouts, like most of them, come through this area right here and take the ammo pack. And once you get familiar yourself with this, you just can spray and fight them out, or deny them. Yeah,
it's a weird one. Spies go lots of different routes. One that I've seen spies doing is jumping up and moving along here, just because they're not going to bump into anyone. In fact, it was an interesting one when we were playing Borneo. In fact, it was against your guys, Lazy. But at the beginning, what we did, and this is a pretty unorthodox tactic, was there was this particular angle where I was in the house at the beginning of Borneo and had a dispenser. And I realised that I could fire my minigun in an arc where the spy could not get through without being picked up. So it just meant that, like, the spy could not get behind our combo, could not get behind our NG unless he was using Dead Ringer. So, like, for the beginning of that game, because it's all quite long range and heavy isn't actually that useful, I was literally sitting on a dispenser holding mouse 1 down. And I picked up the spy a couple of times by doing that, just because he couldn't get through. It was like this wall of detection, which was kind of interesting. I hadn't thought of, sitting on a dispenser and mouse 1ing as a like platinum stroke prem tactic.
What?
But it's got mileage.
Cut out again.
Oh, did I cut out again?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I was just saying that like I'd never really considered sitting on a dispenser and just holding down mouse 1 as a prem tactic. But it works. So if it works, do it, right? So yeah, something to think about. Like, I mean, if you have a dispenser behind point, think about those arcs. Like, okay, I've not actually ever done this on this map, but quite often you get a dispenser here. If you're firing your minigun out in this direction, can a spy get through there? Maybe. But such things are worth thinking about. In fact, no, do you know what would happen if I was here firing minigun in that direction? The spy would be a cheeky bastard. He'd jump on that rock, he'd jump onto my head, he'd get behind me and stab me, and I'd feel like a chump. Yeah, so not viable on this map. But again, one of those very situational things that, can be useful.
But you can bait the spy to do that. Like holding here and checking your back every 2 seconds. You'll catch him eventually because you'll draw him in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, in fact, talking spies, I briefly mentioned talking about a spy's rhythm at the beginning of this map. Spies will have like a set way they do stuff, and like there's a certain time you get in, you've been fighting for a little bit, and then there's a certain point where you're like, okay, the spy's in position, he's decloaking about now, where the fuck is he? And quite often, if you get that timing good, spies must think you're hacking or something, because you'll be fighting here and you'll just turn around, the spy will have just decloaked in that corner and you shoot him, and that's that. So
right,
yeah,
guys, I gotta go. See you guys next time.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Till next time.
Okay,
I
bye.
think we've pretty much covered Via here, unless
Yeah.
anyone has anything to add.
Well, I have one more question about the whole Uber hierarchy and like switcheroo thing.
Okay.
It seems to be that quite a lot of teams, or that's just my team, have a really hard time, even with Kritzkrieg, completely like shutting down a quick fix Uber, because it just seems we can't do it.
Yeah. If you're playing against people with quick fix, then you need to play quite defensively. Like, where are you when the quick fix Uber's going off?
Well, it's not necessarily that, but we have a Kritzkrieg and we're like trying to get onto the point, and we still don't really get anything done. We just get.
Have you got the full crits? Like, are you saying you've got the full Kritzkrieg and you actually?
I think so.
You're running onto the point, you're popping it and getting it. Okay.
Yes.
What I would say there is, okay, the one question that our demo man Kalis asks all the time, and you get so used to him asking it, is he'll be asking the flank, he'll just be like, where's their medic? Where's their medic? Where's their combo? And like, he'll just like, he just keeps asking. And once he knows where they are, then he knows where to put that first sticky. And that's how you get kills. It's like, Kritzkriegs at the high level, it's called out where the combo is, and the demo will be, he'll say, okay, go now. He'll be charging up, he'll get the crits popped a little bit early while the meter on his sticky's going up, and then as soon as he sees his target, he releases, bam, done. And that's the combo down. But yeah, like, in fact, as a combo, we generally won't push in unless we know where their medic is, if we're using crits, because if you crits, and unless you get a fuck ton of people killed, then that can be worth it. But your big thing about the crits is you want to kill their Uber dead, like, or their quick fix dead, or just get the medic. So what I'd say is your demo needs to practice getting that first sticky wherever the fuck he wants it every time.
I think it mostly is for a team thinking about it, the fact that whenever we ask questions like where is their sniper, where is their medic, we just don't get an answer. No one actually knows this.
It's possible that actually just no one knows. I mean, that might be an issue of you might want to tell your spy to be a little more passive in that case, because your spy should generally have an angle on what's going on. Like, you want your spy to be moving in when you're moving in. Like, the difference between good spies and great spies is great spies coordinate with the rest of the team. They've got exactly the same skills as, like, you know, the good spies, but it's all about timing as a spy. So, I mean, like, the spy should have an idea where the medic is. If the spy doesn't know where the medic is, then the soldier should be thinking about where the medic is. Because the soldier, he's also always asking, where's the medic? Because on a map like this, our soldier Tom, all he does is bomb their medic. 24/7, bombing the medic. Sometimes, if they're giving us a problem, we'll get him to bomb the sniper. But otherwise, medic. Medic, medic, medic. All day long, he's just respawning and jumping on the medic. That's it. That's his job. So yeah, you should have a good idea where the medic is at all times. If you don't have a good idea where the medic is, try considering not critzing. Like, just save it. There's this thing with the crits where it's burning a hole in your pocket, because say you're against an Uber or another crits or another quick fix, like all that time that you've got that crits, it's not like Uber, which can be a reactionary thing. Oh, they're critzing, let's hit the Uber and we've got, you know, the advantage. Crits is like you have to use it while you've got it and they don't. But yeah, so to find a balance, I guess, try and work that out. So you're going to say something, Andy?
Something I've taken a liking to telling my team at that moment, because the combo kind of gets fed up with having like no idea where the combo is telling them.
You cut out, MB. Man, this mumble is bullshit.
Somewhere.
That's what this mumble is. Could you say that again?
Actually,
You cut out, yeah.
You cut out.
Whole
thing again.
Something we've kind of taken a liking to, because somehow people, like, we noticed this on Coal Plant, we just had no idea where their combo was, and because no one could actually see something, so they didn't actually say something. Turned out they were like underneath, but the whole point was that we decided that, well, how about you then call that they're not somewhere, because then we can kind of draw a conclusion. They're not back left, they're not back right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a team thing, trust here. Okay, so like, let's say I'm here, and I can see my soldiers just jumped up on that cliff up there, and I can see my scouts just moved over there. If like the call goes out, where's the combo, and no one says anything, then depending on how much you trust your teammates, we know they're not over there, and we know they're not over there. So they're either in spawn, in the house, or far back. So yeah, I mean, it's a similar thing. You can like do negations, but I just do that by looking at where your teammates are, as opposed to, like, if you have everyone trying to call where they're not, you're going to end up with very cluttered comms, and that might be a problem. Just
True.
But, you know. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I just kinda encountered some plat heavies on like lobby.
Yeah.
And they are not moving straight forward when they got like a foothold on you to put damage. Instead, like encountering me behind the corner, just like they jump on me and then begin to strafe left and right very fast. But just long strafes, like it just helps screwing up my aim or something.
Really? Okay, so wait, tell me where I should stand to like simulate what's been happening to you. Where should I be standing?
Okay,
like here?
Yes, their heavy was standing right here,
Yeah.
and I was with my medic, and I jumped on him, and
Oh,
he began to strafe
You jumped in to shoot.
left and right.
Okay, first up,
Yeah.
I don't think this is a jump and spin situation. This is a spin up, shoot, and move around the corner while you're shooting. Like,
So yeah, that was my mistake.
okay, because like, I've talked to you about attacker's advantage on corners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is like, if you jump and spin, then you're not getting the most out of your attacker's advantage. What I'd say is, how was he moving? Like
this.
I mean, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Like, okay, what I guess he's trying to do there is he's trying to get you to track him, and then he's switching it so that your tracking goes off. So one thing to think about that is like how you track them. Like you can track the following edge. This is In fact, I'd have to think about how I do it against spies who are trying to face stab me, because that's a particular skill. You know, when a spy is trying to get you to overcompensate on where you are to shoot him so you can get a face stab, you end up like tracking the back edge of the spy. And what I mean by that is, if at MB, could you just like stand out here and move backwards and forwards for me?
No, like here? Or
Yeah. So like just move backwards, like left and right. In fact, as far as like spin up and move left and right to kind of simulate what I'm doing. Okay, if you like follow the trailing edge, then even when they change position, you're going to still kind of largely be on them. If you see what I mean. And a lot of heavies will have a rhythm. I mean, at this range. You shouldn't be having too much issue with just putting in loads of damage. It should pretty much like, if there's a heavy in there and I'm moving around, I should kill him with edges advantage. But yeah, I guess just practice it. I don't know. I mean, another thing you got to remember is, okay, like, the heavy spread is random. Like, and just like, you know, fire little bits at walls and see where the bullets appear. Sometimes you get like areas just where there've been no bullets. Like, it's very unlikely, it's entirely plausible that you'll manage to fire a number of rounds and they'll all be skewed off to one side. I don't think there's like a normalising factor. I think it's just because the randomisation is pretty good. But yeah, you'll like just get patches where it's like bullets haven't gone. Like that time I got like a load going above my crosshairs and then like only a couple going under. So sometimes in a heavy versus heavy, even if you're close up, the bullets will just go unlucky and you won't get the kill. Yeah, shit happens essentially. But yeah, I mean, yeah. In fact, if something weird happens to you like that, let's do like a POV walkthrough, and we can actually talk about the incident in particular. Because I'm trying to hypothesize what was it that threw you off. I mean, one thought is if he was like strafing left and right in this connector. Was it a fact that halfway through your one-on-one with him, he picked up that health pack, so got an extra 75 health?
Yeah, and I think he was using that edge too, because I had no edge cover, and I think he was really using this edge.
Yeah. If he's in there, like, if you jump and spin, he's going to be putting in damage before you're actually shooting. But yeah, if you just do the whole start spinning up and moving around the corner, if he's staying in here, but you're moving around the corner.
Sorry.
If he's... Oh, sorry, cut out again. God damn this mumble. If he's staying in here, and you're moving around the corner, then due to latency, you should have the damage advantage on him.
And then if he starts edging around the whole corner thing, he kind of gets it back himself, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that's why if I know there's a heavy out there, I'll be like moving backwards and forwards like this, because what I want to have it so that when he starts moving around the corner, I'm also moving around the corner, so that the latency advantage is minimalized. Because like if we're both moving around, then it's 50-50 at that point. What I would say about that is, if you're going in for a close-up fight on a heavy like that, you want to be very aware of what the rest of your team is doing. Now, what I mean by that is, if you're on a one-on-one with a heavy, and your NG can also run in and just fire one single shotgun blast, then there's two eventualities that's going to happen there. One is that their heavy's going to kill you, and then he's going to get shot by the NG, both heavies dead. The other is that you're going to kill him, and both you and the NG are alive. So if you have a teammate with you fight in that fight, then whatever happens, you win that fight, because the worst that happens is that it's both heavies get paid off. Although I would say, depending on if you're attacking or defending, depending on whether you've got the point, that should inform you. Yeah, that should inform you whether you want to take that fight. Like if you're defending, staying alive is much more important than getting frags. If you're attacking, then getting the frags. So what that means is, if I'm defending, I'm not willing to go like and trade with another heavy. Like I need to stay alive if we're defending, and I don't mind like giving up ground to make that happen. If I'm attacking though, then sure, I'll go in on a heavy. If I reduce him to so little health that another teammate picks him off, that's grand, because I'm going to spawn faster and they don't have a heavy to defend with, and heavies are great for defending. So yeah. You for a fight like that, I'd say don't jump up and spin. Walk around the corner and then fire. I'd say be very aware of what the game situation is before you even think of taking that fight. I mean, to be fair, if there's a heavy in connector, my question would be, what the fuck is the heavy doing in connector? Like, what's he actually going to achieve? Like, you can just back off. I mean, if they get a forward hold on concrete, it's useful. But if there's heavies in connector, then his arc of fire here isn't brilliant. You can actually shoot down onto the back of point here, which is cute, but you're very exposed from a lot of long distances. Like, if the sniper's on the left side, he's going to snipe you, and if the sniper's on the right side, he's going to snipe you. So, yeah, they're heavy being here. Like, if you're at a disadvantage going in to fight him, then don't fight him. He's in a slightly shonky position. I mean, if their team's forward holding concrete, then actually that's not bad, but if their team's forward holding concrete, then you won't have the option to fight from this area, because how would you be there if they're forward holding concrete, you know? So yeah. But yeah, one thing I would say is, do grab me for like going through POVs and stuff. I think we've only actually done one of those since I was uploading stuff, and literally it'll just be a case of like, just grab me on a particular day, a particular time, and be like, do you want to look through a POV now? And if I'm not doing anything, I'll be like, yeah, sure, I can do with a break.
Just have a status, not doing anything.
What?
Never mind.
Yeah. Okay, let me stop the recording. Wait, I think I shut down Bandicam. I don't think I've been recording all this time. Oh well, not to worry.